Hi kittens, I'm Julie Savone, psychedelic facilitator, integration expert, and your guide for this wild ride, The Inner Trip, 365 days with plant medicine. I've helped hundreds of people use plant medicine, primarily psilocybin, to heal, expand, and step into their next level. But this year, I'm taking it even deeper. For the next 365 days, I'm bringing you with me. I'll be microdosing, journeying, integrating, and exploring what it really means to live a limitless life, with plant medicine as a tool, not a crutch. So if you're ready to feel more alive, more clear, more limitless, and you're down to do it with mushrooms and a little bit of sass, you're in the right place. Let's take the inner trip. Welcome back, kitten. I am so excited for today. I have lots to report. My intention today is to give you a little update on my formula that I was going to be testing out this past weekend. As I record this today, it is a Monday. And I have decided to take you behind the scenes on my retreats. So my intention today is to share where we're at and then to take you behind the scenes and give you an in-depth exploration of what happens at both my international retreats and my domestic ones. So this weekend, I set out to test my international formula, which is the 2 days of psychedelics. First day, psilocybin. Second day, LSD. And it's interesting, the day that I was set to test out and start with the psilocybin, my dog got sick that morning, and there were just like these little things that really signaled to me that it was not the time to do it. I was starting to get later and later in the day, and ultimately I knew that with my dog having gotten sick, something that he's only ever done one other time. I mean, I've only had him since the end of June, right? It's November right now, but he's only ever gotten sick one other time. I knew that my head was going to not be in the right frame, and I was not going to have optimal setting, which is something, this was a big reason why I wanted to talk to you about my retreats and why being in this space is so important. And I wish that I could optimize for that in my own use all of the time. And unfortunately, right now where I relocated to, I don't have a facilitator. Would love to fly back to California and sit with some of my favorite facilitators. But I still was like, you know what? I've had a couple of these, I'll call them false starts, right? Where I have set about to try my formula and to make sure that it works for these international retreats. And I get to the psilocybin day and I either have a really bad headache afterwards or something just comes up where I'm like, oof, you know what? I just can't do it the next day. So I decided to scratch the psilocybin day, and I still decided yesterday to go ahead and take myself on an LSD journey. LSD is my favorite psychedelic, and there is a reason for it. Yesterday was such a beautiful day. Tune back in next week to find out more about that journey, but I'm really happy that I decided to do that, have that experience, because it gave me a lot of what I needed. They are such different experiences. And I'm excited to, in December, reapproach that overall 2 full day with a day in between experience with both psilocybin followed by LSD, and just to see like what is available to me there. So let's dive into my retreats, and I'm going to take you through both my US-based retreats and my international-based retreats. But let's start with the US-based retreat because I have now facilitated 8 retreats. 8 retreats, multiple private ceremonies for people that mimic the retreat outline. And what I can say after leading so many people through this, I did a tally the other day. I led 28 women through my retreat setting, is that I really have the formula nailed down. And I know everyone's like, what actually happens here? This sounds so weird. This sounds so crazy. So I just want to let you know. I want to take you through it as if we were kind of journeying through the retreat space together. So to start off, everyone arrives on a Thursday evening. I like to do them Thursday through Sunday. I recently decided to add in another day, a full day into the retreat. I'm calling it a play day because before it felt like it was really rushed. It felt like people had just kind of gotten off of the airplane, and then I was forcing them to land maybe quicker than would have been optimal for them. And I wanted people to feel a little bit more expansive. I wanted people to feel like they could breathe. And I think my hang up before was that, oh, I don't know that people have the time to spend an extra day. And I know that taking this time away is actually one of the most valuable uses of time generally. So yes, I mean, the plant medicine experience is so powerful, and that's obviously why people come, right? They want to have a guided, intentional psychedelic experience. And just taking the time away from your life, from your phone, from your other obligations is such a beautiful reset. Like retreats in general, I feel are made for that, of to like unplug yourself from the obligations, the carpool, the soccer games, the to-do list that's a mile long, and to just be here now. So having that retreat space for the time to just get away is one of the biggest benefits. And ultimately, that is a big reason why I couldn't get into the right head frame to take myself on the psilocybin journey, because my retreats are infused with two very important things called set and setting. So I control for set and setting, meaning your mindset entering into the experience and the overall like safety and peace you feel in the environment you're in the entire time. So when it comes to the environment, I make sure that the house is a nice house and there's a beautiful accommodations and you feel really taken care of. Like there's plenty of food, drinks, snacks. It's in a private location, so we have access to a private yard space. There's always some kind of water, whether that be a hot tub or a pool involved, that it's really beautiful. So you feel comfortable, you feel at ease. And then everything that I say is infused with neuro-linguistic programming, which is a technique and it's really a certification that coaches can go through to help prime your unconscious mind with feelings of safety. This isn't about manipulation. This is about being very intentional with language. So just a little like preview into the experience, right? One of the sort of rules of entering the psychedelic space is, if at any point someone needs my assistance during the journey, I have everyone understand before we even begin that it's important to say the words like guardian or Julie. So you can say my name, but don't say help, because if you're to say help, what does that inspire in the mind of everyone around you? Something's wrong, right? And then they have it in their head, something's wrong. Someone needs to do something. And for people who, oftentimes the women that come to my retreats are women who are taking care of everything else but themselves, that can really pull them out of their trip and make them feel like they need to take care of someone else. So everything is super intentional. The language I use, the language I ask you to use to make sure that we maintain set and setting. And I know some people have had a bad trip, and I'm so sorry if that is you. If you have been in an experience where psychedelic experience that got off the rails and it ended up being really uncomfortable and you did not enjoy your experience ultimately. And I promise you that when you come on my retreats, I've never had someone have a bad trip, not because they didn't have anything to work through, right? I've had people work through some really intense stuff, abuse, religious trauma, death, and I have had no bad trips, I am certain of, because of the way that I ensure proper set and setting. So everyone arrives on a Thursday evening, and all of the women, because it is women, there are 4 to 5 other women, right? A group of 5 to 6 women total. And we have dinner together. We have dinner together so that you guys can get to know one another, so that you can get to know me a little bit better if you feel like we're not as connected, right? So some people, we've hopped on a Zoom call before we got to the retreat space, but we've never met in real life. Some people have worked with me for many months, if not years, and have never met me in real life. So just to start to feel more comfortable with one another, all of my meals at my retreats are catered, which is so amazing. It takes a lot of the pressure off of anyone feeling like, oh, I need to go get this, or I want a snack, and just to feel like someone is fully taking care of you is also such a treat, because again, it's usually these women who are taking care of everyone else but themselves. So sit down at a nice catered meal and feel like, oh my gosh, I don't have to do anything, is a beautiful way to start the evening. We'll also begin to share like what called you to this experience, right? Do you have any experience with plant medicine? How did we all get connected here? And just to kind of find commonalities and start to build those relationships, because this will be your flight crew for the weekend. So that evening, I take everyone through a breathwork practice. I am a breathwork facilitator as well. It's a combination of like holotropic and transformational breathwork. And that is oftentimes one of people's favorite parts, because most people don't realize how powerful their breath is, that they can create so much change just by breathing. And it really is astounding to see what comes up for people during this breath work. It is a forced state of hyperventilation, so it's breathing pretty quickly all in and out through your mouth to stimulate the vagus nerve, to promote hyperoxygenation of the blood. And people cry, people laugh, people say, oh my God, I did all that from breathing. And this is where I like to tell people, you're in charge of your rocket ship tonight. If you want to go really hard and have a big experience, you can. If you don't, if you just want to lay down, do some calm nasal breathing, listen to all of the priming that is going on in this breath work, which consists of me also like giving you suggestions, mantras to say out loud, really speaking to that unconscious part of your mind, then that's totally fine too. You can just lay down and receive. But this is the only time when you're in control of your rocket ship. And I always tell people, like, tomorrow during the ceremony itself, once you have eaten the mushrooms are in charge. So this is your opportunity to set the thermostat, if you will, on your experience. After breathwork, people are usually really tired. It's been a big day of travel for many people. So we'll all head to bed in the morning. No coffee, no breakfast, because we start the journey during the day. This is another big reason I really like my retreats. A lot of facilitators start the journey at night, and for ayahuasca, that is necessary. Ayahuasca really messes with your eyes, so bright lights can be really like jarring. I like to facilitate during the day because it allows people to have a really good sleep at night, and I am a big believer of not disrupting our REM and our sleep. I'm just such a sleep fiend. I love it so much, and getting good sleep is so important to me. And it's not necessary for you to do it at night. Like, it's not going to hurt your eyes to see the light. So I like to facilitate during the day, in the morning. And we always start off with these flight instructions. So there again are things that I will tell you to help you meet the journey in the most loving way possible. And I've been told that these flight instructions are really chef's kiss and the thing that help people get the most out of the journey. So the overall theme is like, it's important to let go and surrender to whatever is happening in your experience. So a phrase that came from Timothy Leary and his whole gang is trust, let go, be open, TLO. And that's sort of like a refrain that you can come back to if your journey starts to feel uncomfortable, if it starts to feel a little scary or confrontational, right? Trust the process, let go of your expectation and the need to control, and be open to whatever is in front of you. So I go through these flight instructions, and from there, we talk about our intention. Now, your intention for the journey can be something really specific. Like maybe you know you have a trauma in your life that you have been unable to work through up until this point, and you're just ready. You're ready to meet it, work through it, process it, and release it. Maybe you came to this experience with curiosity. I've had a lot of doctors come to these retreats. I've had other medical professionals who are just like, this is not what I do in my profession, but I'm so curious from like my scientific mind what this is like. An intention that I love is from A Course in Miracles, and it is, what would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say? And to who? And it's really this idea of just like, I'm open, like lead me, right? I grew up Catholic, and so I heard this song all the time at Mass, lead me, Lord. It's like, lead me, Lord, by the light of truth, to seek and to find the narrow way. I'm sure everyone wanted to hear me sing today. But I think about that, because it's just like, I'm open, right? I'm open to whatever it is that you want to show me. And so having a very clear intention is super important. I always like to say you're getting exactly what you need, if not exactly what you want. And so just being open to receive whatever it is that the mushrooms want to show you. And from your intention, we can build our mantra. So a mantra is a phrase that you can come back to in the journey to incorporate with your breathing. So I'll give you breathing practices that'll help you stay grounded in the flight instructions. But the mantra is something that you can come back to, right? So maybe it is like open. Oh, it can be something simple like I'm open. I'm open. It can be one word like joy, joy, joy. A woman at my last retreat, this made me laugh. She had a difficult trip the time before. This was her second retreat, and so she decided that this like mantra this time would be, "This is fun. This is fun." She would just say it to herself if things, started to get a little hairy. So we have a mantra, we have our breath, we have the intention, we have clear flight instructions. Then we bless the mushrooms. We give some back to nature. And then the blessing is very indigenously based in reverence to that culture and tradition, like from whence the mushrooms came. And we talk about specific dosage for you. So this isn't like a one-stop shop where everyone takes the same amount. This is very much like, okay, what do you have experience with? I tell them, okay, this is kind of these ranges. Where would you like to go? And so it is very customized to each person. And then they take them together. Everyone takes the mushrooms together. They lay down. I facilitate in a therapeutic setting. I am not a therapist. So we all make these little cloud beds. You lay down, you put an eye mask on. And then the journey is very connected to music. Very connected to music. So there are specific songs that they get played to help your mind on the journey. And the peak of the experience is like 1 to 3 hours in. So it is important, and I say this in all my prep emails, that people have a practice with stillness before they enter, because it can be a little wiggly if you don't. So that's part of the prep. There are plenty of prep emails that go out before, like, okay, this is how we're going to think about setting your intention, and these are things that you can start doing now to get the most out of this experience, and these are things that like I would avoid eating in the few days leading up to the experience, etc. So feeling very clear about what you are there to receive, how best to meet the experience, what you can be open to receiving from the mushrooms. And the journey does last overall about 4 to 6 hours. And it's interesting, I can't explain this via science, but I can say I believe it's very much energetic, that everyone sort of lands their plane at the same time, meaning we all kind of like everyone comes down. I do take a small amount. I'll take like half a gram, so a little bit more than a microdose, but obviously less than a full dose. So I sort of feel something, and I'm in the energy of the experience with you, right? So it's just important for me to be connected as the anchor, as the tether. And I'm not having a full experience, but I am there in the ethers with you. So as everyone comes down, we'll bring out snacks, popcorn, fruit, all that good stuff. We'll have a full dinner later, but it's just you're getting your land legs back essentially from your journey. And that's when people start to be like, okay, that was wild. What the heck just happened? And I always say, hey, this is not our time to dissect it. We dissect it tomorrow. So the rest of that night is really just spent like turning yourself back on, rebooting yourself. And it's very like, at worst, you're going to get a headache. Don't worry. Like, this is not a scary or a hard process. The next day, on that Saturday, it's a play day and an integration day. So the first part of the day is doing something in the environment in which we are in that is going to help promote feelings of play and embodiment. So in Lake of the Ozarks, we rented a boat, right? We'll rent a boat in Lake Tahoe, I'm sure. In Vermont, I think we'll do some like outdoor hiking, and maybe some, depending on where the season is, like tapping or whatever. We're just going to embrace the environment. And then we get into integration when we get back to the house after a nice lunch. And so the first part of this process is always a share circle. And I kind of did my share circle with you for my last mushroom journey. I'm going to do a share circle with you for my journey with LSD, but it is the only time that I have a real rule, which is that whoever is speaking gets to speak uninterrupted. There's no interjections from anyone else, including me, and I don't speak until someone says I'm done. So they get to fully share their experience, everything that came up for them. Then they'll look at me, say I'm done, and I might offer some feedback or some commentary and move on to the next person. So that is the first part, just feeling like you can get everything out. And then we go through the integration exercise, the first one, which is the one that I shared with you on last week's podcast, where I took you through and like let you know what had come up for me on my journey. So everyone gets to go through that, and I lead everyone through that. So we workshop the things that feel sticky, and then we'll break for dinner and resume with more integration activities. Because remember, integration is really the most important part of the journey. Without integration, you're just having a cool trip, a recreational experience. You're not going to have something that is profoundly life-changing. So that night, we wrap it up again. We meet one last time in the morning. I take everyone through a microdosing masterclass so that they can use microdosing in their integration process. I support them with other practices to maximize integration. And we'll have a nice breakfast and set up our integration mini mind. So for the next month at all of my retreats, we do meet 3 times via group call, and then we have a conversation going, a WhatsApp channel, a Telegram channel, or a text thread with everyone in the retreat inside that is there to support you with your breakthroughs, with sticking to everything that we talked about in the integration, and helping you learn how to tell people about your experience, because not everyone, fully is ready to meet you there as you share about it. So it really is helping you make sense of the journey and move forward. That's what the mini mind is all about. So that exists for the next month after the retreat. These are my US-based retreats, right? These are the things that I have done and loved and are just so transformational for the last 2 years, 8 full retreats. International retreats look very similar, except they're a little bit longer. So international retreats, travel obviously is its own beast. So we have a little bit more time for travel and getting there, but first night, same thing, dinner together, breath work, go to bed. First full day is the psilocybin journey. Same sort of outlook. The next day is a full play day, right? So it could be horseback riding on the beach. It could be zip lining. It really is activities, once again, that make sense for the environment in which we are in. Surf lessons. The next day is our LSD trip. So we're breaking it up with one day in between because, again, I just don't want anyone to feel like rushed or have potentially a headache that in some way keeps them from wanting to do this LSD. I want them to feel really fresh when they enter the second psychedelic experience day. And then the fourth day is a full day of integration. So let's actually take a step back and talk about the LSD, because LSD is a very different plant medicine. It's a very different psychedelic than psilocybin. So LSD is much more energizing. It's much more, you can communicate, you can do things. Like mushies are very mushy, meaning people oftentimes feel like they just want to lay down, they're feeling lethargic, they just want to be cozy, It's hard to kind of find the get up and go. LSD is very different. You have a lot of energy, you have more movement, and you can converse. Sight is still a little different. We think about mushrooms and we think about seeing like the walls melt or a caterpillar that isn't there smoking hookah. LSD is not that. Sight is different. It's like a little bit unfocused. But what I really like to do with LSD is be creative. I like to paint. I like to talk about projects and things, and so it's really like it's more of a collaborative experience, whereas the mushroom journey is your own inward experience, like your own psyche. So LSD is like interacting with your environment and the people around you, and bringing like your projects and things to the forefront. So we will have painting supplies, we will have a whiteboard for all the masterminding, and it's longer as well. It is a longer experience. But still, we will have, our nice dinner together that night, and then we'll move into the integration. So the integration is going to involve both journeys, and we look at each journey from a separate share perspective, and we look at what is unique about each journey and what is the same. Like what are consistent themes that came up. And you may have kind of two completely different tracks, which is fine. Or you may have one very similar track with like different nuances that came up in both trips. So because we've had two journeys, we have two sort of approaches to integration to make sure that you're pulling the threads through on all sides, from all sides. And then same with the next day of setting you up for success, right? So I'll talk to you about how you can integrate and use microdosing LSD or psilocybin to support you in the integration period. We talk about next steps, setting up the mastermind, all that good stuff. And because LSD is really more about the brain and an expansion of the brain and these ideas, these LSD retreats, these international retreats, are really more for the people with an idea that they want to see come to life. So this could be a business owner, this could be a creative, like an artist, this could be someone who maybe they have a 9-to-5, but they really want to write a book, something that they feel they could use the support of this like brain neuromodulator to essentially birth, right? We're not birthing children, but we are birthing ideas. So I am looking at these LSD retreats as more as an opportunity to do that. And of course, some people are just going to be like, you know what? I really want to experience LSD. I've never experienced it. I would love to have that experience. Awesome. Come. You'll still get so much out of it. And I know, like, because your brain is going to be firing in different ways, you're going to be so supportive to the people who are looking to really build those ideas. And I will say, I do think that is who these retreats, you're going to get so much out of it if you feel like you have an idea or something that gets to be brought to life. So same thing the next day, we wrap everything up, send you on your way, get back to the airport, have a nice breakfast, say goodbye to all your friends who you will see 3 more times on Zoom and in our group chat, where we get, once again, the purpose of the group chat and integration is to support you in doing the things that you said you were going to do as a result of what you saw on the journey. It is there to support you when times get tough, when integration and implementation feels difficult. So that is at your disposal and open for the next 30 days. Those are the 2 retreats, right? We have US-based, which is psilocybin only. We have international options, which are for LSD as well, in addition to psilocybin. And as you're listening to this on November 12th, today is the last day of my Harvest Your Magic VIP exclusive pricing for all retreats. I can't say that any spots are left. There are only, I did the math earlier, I think 23 spots available or remaining for my retreats through 2026. This is all of the retreats up until 2027. But it is VIP exclusive pricing for everyone. So if a retreat has been on your list, if you're listening to this thinking like, yes, this is what I want, this is what I need, then make sure to head over. There is a link in the show notes. You can DM me the word retreat and we can talk about which one would be right for you. There are dates listed on the retreats and ceremonies page that are linked in the show notes as well. And my integration for you today is to take a few moments and think about, and really honestly answer this for yourself, like, what, if anything, has been calling to me about psychedelics? There's a reason you're listening to this podcast, right? Something intrigued you, even if it was like, oh my gosh, I just want to know more. I want to like hear what this is all about. And I would guess that there is, if that's the case, and you're listening to this because you felt the call in some way, there's something else there for you. There is something that's saying, hey, I want to explore this. I want to see what is available to me with the power of psychedelics, with the power of plant medicine. So just take a few moments to consider that for yourself. Journal it out, do a voice note, send yourself a text message, whatever feels good for you. And in the next episode, we will be going over my LSD trip from yesterday. So much love, kittens. Talk soon. That's the end of today's trip. But remember, the real magic has always been inside of you. If this episode landed, send it to a friend who's ready to step into their next level. And make sure you're following the show so you never miss a dose. I'll be back again soon with another day on the path to your most limitless life. And until then, trust yourself, follow your intuition, and keep asking, how good can it get?